Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting the Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Thursday as you are listening to the show today. We, of course, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen. And today's topic is going to be one of those that no matter how technologically smart you are, how technologically dumb you might feel like you are sometimes, or even how smart you are when it comes to internet scams and email oopses and things along those lines. My guest today is Jesse Mueller. He is with BlueScreen Computer Services, and we're going to talk a little bit about scams and hazards of the internet. But Jesse, before we get started, BlueScreen Computer Services, you are or were, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, a mobile computer service company. Tell me about that.
When I moved to Shenandoah County, I just saw a need for mobile computer support. I would drive around the county, show up at people's doors and offices, and they would welcome me in and they would watch me fix their computer. They would ask me questions along the way. I could even offer education and training along the way. It worked really well to have that face-to-face contact while fixing things, because people are intimidated by their computers. And it's kind of a mystery. If you drop your computer off at a shop, you pick it up a week later, you don't know what happened. I take the mystery away. I try to give people as much information as they can handle, and it gets everybody more comfortable with what's going on.
And I would imagine you have to have that skill set that allows you to explain something that is probably highly technical in some regards in a very layman's-like way. I teach social media classes and have found that people say, you make this understandable instead of so technical like what I feel like I read on the internet. I'm sure you have to have that same sort of skill set.
Right. I have to attack the jargon and make it into regular English. And I realize that the jargon is a lot of why the technology field is impenetrable to your layperson, to your typical computer user. I don't want people to be confused. And so I consider my audience with every word I speak and every word that I write, and I try to bring it down to earth.
Now, has COVID, I'm sure it's had some sort of an impact on how you do business every day, but I'm guessing it might be in a good way. There might be a silver lining to COVID for you.
Well, I guess I can say I won't complain. I was able to pivot my business, and I took myself off the streets. I could not continue on-site visits during COVID. I was traveling over 3 counties. I was walking into people's homes, old people's homes, young people's homes. I was walking into lawyers' offices and churches and counselors' offices. And I just saw myself as a great vector for spreading any nasties that are out there. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to participate in COVID. So yeah, I turned remote, and now I help people wherever they're located over the internet. I can latch onto a computer or even a tablet or cell phone with software. I can see their screen, I can move their cursor around, and I can talk with them on the phone while I'm servicing things. It's almost as if I'm sitting in their chair, and it works really well. It has changed my business irrevocably, because prior to COVID, I restrained myself to just the 3-county radius, Shenandoah, Warren, Frederick counties. Now I'm helping people in a dozen different states. I've got people in Rhode Island and Florida calling me. It's amazing. And I'm just grateful that I still have the opportunity to help, and that COVID hasn't really slowed me down. It's just made me pivot.
Are you doing training as well? I mean, are you teaching people, for example, how to use Zoom or how to get the most out of their Microsoft Office products? Or are you mostly on the technical end fixing something that has gone wrong?
Well, most people call me when something's gone wrong, but along the way, if there's an opportunity for me to give some training, to teach somebody, to answer whatever questions are thrown at me, I will step up. I typically only do one-on-one or one-on-two training, depending on who I'm helping. I've tried training smaller or larger groups, and it's a different ball of wax. So I stick to the repair, and I supplement with education when I can.
I know that the blog post that I had seen of yours earlier was about scams, and we were chatting before we started recording about what sorts of things we wanted to talk about today. And you had said scams and hazards of the internet are a hot topic that you are dealing with on a daily basis, even on the weekends in some cases.
Yes, I am constantly fielding calls and emails and Facebook messages from people who are wondering if they're about to step in a scam, or I'm helping people who have stepped in the scam and been taken for money or other damages, and they need my help in recovering and recouping their losses. So yes, it's constant.
And I think sometimes it's a two-way street because so many people think, oh, well, that's not going to happen to me. And sometimes they're even more vulnerable because they have that mindset that maybe they're not taking the precautions they should. And then they find out it happened to somebody next door or in their office. And now they're thinking, whoa, maybe I need to take a hard look at what my privacy settings are and just be aware of things.
I frequently tell people that everybody is scammable. I mean, it's not just certain types of people. I have people say, well, I'm sharp as a tack or whatever. I'm like, no, it's not like that. These scammers, they're almost like hypnotists. And if they catch you at the right moment, they might get into your brain. They might steal your attention or trick you down a mental thought path that you shouldn't go, where you wouldn't normally go. You would never think you would go. So I think the first and main weapon about that is education, getting people to think about scams, to read about them, to learn about what is happening out there, so that when it comes to your doorstep, you recognize it and you can't be hypnotized.
They've gotten so advanced as well. I mean, back in the day, 5 years, 10 years ago, the only real thing you had to be careful of is making sure that the link you were clicking on was for the actual website and that a word wasn't, letters weren't transposed in a word, or that the email was actually from the person that you thought it was from. But now, I mean, it's a lot tougher sometimes to spot some of these things.
Well, sure. I mean, it's a twofold threat. It's a psychological threat and it's a technological threat. These scammers are just using the same tools that I use to do my work. I remotely control computers to do good, and they use the same tools as I do to do bad. So as the tools and the techniques of the world, step up technologically, yeah, it does seem more advanced. But yeah, these guys are much more sophisticated with their words and their verbal tactics than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, there's always something to keep up with. There's a new scam, a new technique every month that I can write about on my blog or talk to people about.
I know that years ago there used to be, and now it's like a running joke on your Saturday Night Lives and things like that, the Nigerian who just needed you to put some money in his account so he could give you 10 times the money back. But I remember not that long ago, a friend of mine had a wife who was scammed into buying a bunch of gift cards
Mhm.
because she thought it was her boss calling, asking her to do that, or emailing, asking her to do that for him. That's the kind of stuff that people really need to be aware of.
Right. That is one thing that I've been discussing and blogging about. When somebody asks you for a gift card, you need to take a step back. That sheriff on the phone telling you you're about to be arrested should not be asking you for gift cards. Gift cards are for gifts. They are to be treated as cash. And when the IRS calls you asking for a gift card to pay your back taxes, well, if they're asking for a gift card, they're not the IRS. So that's one of the many things I tell people. That's a big hot button. You hear gift card, you should immediately be in disbelief.
And sometimes don't even think in terms of gift card, like a Target gift card or Amazon gift card. Even a Visa gift card is still a gift card, even though it has Visa's name on it.
Right, right. But these guys on the phone, they will talk fast, and they will be bombarding you with all kinds of paranoid statements or emotional things to trigger you so that your judgment doesn't kick in. They try to get you on a landslide of emotions so that you end up accepting what they're throwing at you. Instead of saying, you need to buy me a gift card, they will say, well, this is to protect your money from the people hacking your computer right now. If we don't convert your money to gift cards, they're going to get into your bank account and steal it. And yes, it sounds absurd when I
But
say
when
it
you're
to you.
scared, it
When you're
makes
in the
sense.
thick of the moment and your head is whirling with emotions, you could get caught up in it. It happens to everybody. I've even had people tell me later, when they recover from the scam and they get their head out of wherever the scammers took it, they tell me, I am smarter than this, Jesse. I have no idea why I fell victim to this. They tell me, I was an educator. I was trained in this. And yet the scam came together at just the right time. They had 6 plates spinning, and when the phone rang, that was the 7th thing that just toppled their balance.
And I think too, sometimes it throws people off because they sometimes expect these scams to be coming in their inbox in email or by clicking on a bad link on a website. We don't always expect them to be calling us on our phones. And that's
Right.
exactly how it happens a lot of the time.
Right, right. The scammers are going to use any tools at their disposal. And one of their greatest tools is anonymity. You can make a phone call that's almost anonymous because of call spoofing. They can falsify their caller ID using free tools on the internet, just like you can send an email from a disposable email address. And you can also make a Facebook account on the fly and then start scamming through that. So wherever they can scrounge some anonymity, they can get a foothold into your brain space and contact you. I do hope that in a year or two, there will be less call spoofing. I believe that Congress and the telecom companies are working on something that will create call authentication and prevent falsification of caller ID. But they've been talking about that for years. I don't know when it's coming.
And it's never going to be foolproof. You're still going to have to be educated and aware and know what you're doing in the moment when you answer that call from anybody.
Oh, sure. It's always going to be an arms race. As soon as we bolster our defenses, the scammers are going to be inventive and find another way around. So, yeah, again, the ultimate tool for us regular people is education, keeping abreast of what's going on so you don't get blindsided.
Can we take a quick break? And when we come back, can we talk a little bit about the other side? You mentioned that sometimes when people do get taken advantage of, you kind of have to come in and help them maybe get some of their stuff back or figure out where it went. Can we talk about the other side of those scams in our next segment?
You got it. Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on the Zoom screen. We are pre-recording today with Jesse Mueller. He is with BlueScreen Computer Services, and we're going to talk more with him in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a Quick Money Chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Thursday as you are listening to the show today. We, of course, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen. We are chatting with Jesse Mueller. He is with BlueScreen Computer Services. And Jesse, we've been talking about scams and the hazards of the internet. You were kind of giving me a rundown of how people can get sucked into a scam sometimes. What happens if it's too late? What happens if they're already in it? Is there a way to recover and get out of it?
Well, there's a variety of things I talk to people about when they're in the middle of a scam. Like sometimes people will call me because a bell turned on in the middle of it. They'll call me and they'll say, yeah, I've got Microsoft and they're connected to my computer right now. And I cut them off. I tell them, turn off the computer right now. Well, they told me, no, that would hurt things. I tell them to turn off the computer because Microsoft does not contact people like that. And Microsoft does not remotely control your computer out of the blue. It's always a scammer when I'm getting that call. But a lot of times people call me after the scam is over, after the bad guys have made off with their mark's money. And it's a sad day. And that's most days for me. But then I have to advise people. And I'm not a financial expert, but I give them basic financial advice. How did you pay for the scam or to the scammer? Did you use a credit card? That's the best thing, actually, because you can call up your credit card company and dispute the charges, have things reversed. Unfortunately, the scammers know this these days. They are moving more to a bank account model where they get the routing number, the checking account number, and then that money is probably gone. Then I have to tell the customer, please contact your bank ASAP. See if you need to change your bank account numbers or whatever. And then there's the gift card thing that I think we broached earlier. A lot of scammers are moving to gift cards because that is like cash. Once you buy the gift card, you can't return it to the store. Once you give the gift card numbers to the scammer, they siphon that money off and it's gone.
It's interesting you say that too, because on the news this week, I saw a special story they were doing on NBC4 Washington. They had sent one of their people around to some of the local stores to buy $1,000 in gift cards. To see if it got flagged at the store. And some of the larger chains did flag. And the cashier would say, may I ask why you're buying this large amount? Are you aware of these types of scams?
Yes.
So it's interesting that at least now on the other side of this, some of these other larger companies and retail organizations are trying to help you from getting too far gone.
And that's really, I'm really happy that they're doing that. They really should train all of their cashiers, give them a quick little checklist. If you have a customer buying, but you know what? It's an arms race. The scammers know this is happening. And so the scammers, the really sharp ones, they may condition their victim before they send them to the store. They may condition them and train them. Don't speak a word about this or else bad things will happen, whatever. I've had some of my people go to the store and they don't know why, but they button up and they buy the gift cards and they won't answer questions and they just power through it to do what the scammer has programmed them to do. And then later they feel really bad about it because then they know the truth.
We were talking during the break about antivirus. Though that it's important to have that on your computer, but most computers, at least Windows based, come with that already installed, don't they?
Well, yes. I mean, I generally stress people use the built-in Microsoft Defender antivirus, which is free, but a lot of computers come with trials of big name commercial antiviruses that try to convince you to pay for it. I don't see much sense in that. There really is not much of a protection difference when it comes to free antivirus versus paid. And I don't go by Consumer Reports or these other publications. I go to like avtest.org and these nonprofits that rate the antiviruses. They all have about the same protection level when you get down to brass tacks. But malware and adware can get on your computer despite your protection. They are kind of like scamming programs. They convince you or they connive their way onto your computer and they serve up ads and they pervert your web searches. And some of the things that pop up on your screen lead you to the scams. I have seen where adware and malware gets on a computer and suddenly somebody's loading a newspaper website and something pops up in front of it saying your computer is being hacked. Call this fake number from Microsoft right now. And it leads into all of the scam stuff that we're talking about. So generally I tell people, if you think you have malware, contact a professional, contact somebody who's in the know. If you have a tech friend or somebody smart at the college you go to, just talk to other people and figure out a way to clean your computer, because once malware gets on, it only gets worse. It grows like fungus.
Well, and I'll tell you too, from a paid versus free antivirus perspective, I have learned that you're right, the free antivirus versions are perfectly acceptable and will probably do as good of a job. They will every once in a while say, hey, would you like to pay for the paid version? Because they all have a paid version. But if you buy one of the paid versions, they hound you to death to upgrade and to add on this and to add on that. So it's a whole lot easier if you just go with the free version. They don't worry you to death as much, believe it or not.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I imagine the paid ones, the commercials ones are kind of hungry. More and more people are switching to free antivirus. So they got to do what they can to pay the bills. Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's just one of those things where people assume, especially if they buy a new laptop or they get a new computer, that it's already set up. Everything is already on it that needs to be on it. And that's not always the case either. Sometimes you can take a lot of that stuff off that may have some adware and all of these other things on it. You can uninstall stuff from a brand new computer.
Yes, that's what a lot of people hire me for. I am commonly helping people as soon as they get the computer and unbox it. I walk them through steps. I get connected. I clean it up. I get rid of what's called shovelware, the stuff that the manufacturer shoveled onto the computer. I shovel it right off, and it makes for a nicer new computer experience. And when people don't want to hire me, I can give them brief tips on, oh, well, just uninstall this or run this one little free program called ADW Cleaner. It'll get rid of a lot of the shovelware for you. So yeah, I mean, that exactly.
I use a particular program, kind of a cleaner, like you were saying, CC Cleaner, that I learned about. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to go take it off my computer, but I learned about it from NPR. So I thought it was a reputable source. But every once in a while, when it's time to upgrade or do whatever the software update, a lot of times what you'll find with some of this software is that there's a little box that also says install Google Chrome or this search bar. And that box is already checked and you don't pay any attention. Now, suddenly you've got this extra stuff that you didn't really want on your computer that you've done by accident when you've downloaded it. Those are the kinds of things that people should really just pay attention to.
Right, but some programs make it hard to find those little tag-alongs. I'm constantly finding extra McAfee software or CCleaner or a second antivirus even on a person's computer because they didn't see that one little hidden checkbox as they installed some freeware. It happens a lot, and that's one of the reasons why CCleaner has fallen out of vogue. I won't tell you to get rid of CCleaner because its main function to clean up junk is perfectly fine. But these days, Microsoft red flags CCleaner. And if you're running the Microsoft Defender program, it may actually tell you that it is a potentially unwanted program and it may encourage you to remove it. Not because CCleaner is going to harm your computer. If you use it to kill the temp files, you're fine. But Microsoft takes umbrage at the registry cleaner portion of CCleaner because it stands a chance of damaging your computer. Microsoft's official stance is that registry cleaners are not to be used lest you accidentally render your computer unbootable. And at some point in the past, CCleaner caught some flack for collecting up too much personal information about its users. So, that's why I kind of start to cringe at CCleaner these days. I used to recommend it. I used to install it on all of my client computers, but no longer. And also the main function of CCleaner is no longer necessary because Windows 10 has something built in called Storage Sense. If you turn it on, it's a free tool hiding in the settings of Windows 10. It'll do the same function as CCleaner as far as getting rid of temp files.
See, now I am one of those people, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I will anyway, that I always felt like I knew enough. I'm not a beginner. I'm not a newbie. I'm probably intermediate, nowhere near being advanced. But I thought, okay, I know how this stuff works. I watch for the check boxes. I don't download anything that's free because I know, as my husband is so fond of saying, ain't nothing free in this world. So I'm always careful about what I'm downloading, but I had no idea. about half of what you just told me. So my personal education is complete today.
Well, there's always something to learn, and that goes for me too. I'm always picking up something, and there are some weeks where a customer teaches me something, and I'm like, wow, great! I'm glad you said something. I need to know this. There's always something out there for us to ingest.
If somebody has questions, they want to reach out to you because they need help from a computer perspective, from a scam perspective. They just want you to give their computer a once over to make sure that they're in good shape. How would they get in touch with you? Where is the best first place for them to go?
Well, the best first place is to call me. I tell people to call me at any hour, 540-975-5000. Great phone number. I'll never give it up. And as soon as I get the voicemail, if it's after hours, it goes to voicemail. As soon as I get their call, I will immediately offer to help them if they're in serious trouble. Or if it's something minor, I just give them quick advice and send them on their way. I'm not looking to charge everybody. I just want to help as many people as I can. I also welcome people to email me, jesse@bluescreencomputer.com, because sometimes they need advice, but it involves me sending them a URL. I want to tell them quickly, hey, buy this thing on Amazon, or go to Costco and get this computer. It's better done over email because I can send them an exact link and there's no confusion as to what I'm advising. And a lot of people grab me on Facebook. I have a BlueScreen Computer Facebook page where people ask questions and I post publicly, and it's a good tool for mass communication.
And you post a lot of what we've talked about today. Heads up, this is going around. Hey, here's a tip that you need to know about. It's a great place to just stay in the know and get some of that education is by following your Facebook page.
Sure. On my Facebook page or on my actual website, I post my entries there as well. I'm just, writing it all out. I'm getting it out there, making a permanent record of things so that people can pass it around. If I can help somebody who passed it 2 or 3 times down the road, great. I just don't want to see people scammed. And I don't want people tearing their hair out because their computer is frustrating them. So I hope I'm doing some good in the world.
Yeah, our computers are our extra limbs these days. So
Yes.
I can appreciate that you are concerned for everyone.
Yeah, they sure are. What will we do without them?
Right? Well, there are days I'd like to imagine. I'd like to see what I would actually do without it. But we are going to wrap up today's conversation. We have been chatting with Jesse Mueller. He is with BlueScreen Computer Services. I will put links and his phone number up on the show notes page so you can go and access that if you are listening as you are driving, because we don't want you to do that while you're driving. Jesse, thank you so much for meeting up with me on the Zoom screen today. I've got a question for you about backups, but we'll do that off air. How about that?
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Janet.
I will be back tomorrow. I will have a brand new episode of The Valley Today ready to go for you just a few minutes after noon. It's Tony Baker and Frederick County Parks and Rec. That means spring is actually here. We are going to hear about Frederick County Parks and Rec programs tomorrow, a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.